Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have a PRS on the bench today. We are putting some upgraded pickups in it. It has a push-pull tone, one volume, and a three-way switch toggle. Let's get to work. Let's see where we're at with this side. Where are we with my camera first? I think we can get a little closer on that. It's got some humbuckers in it. Now, I've already taken the strings off. I already have the back out. I've already figured out which wire is for the neck and which wire is for the bridge. I'm going to, I make my own little maps when I'm doing this sort of thing, and I refer to manufacturer maps first and then try to figure out as I go along. Color coding is always different from manufacturer to manufacturer. PRS is not the same color coding as DiMarzio. So that's not too hard to follow if you pay attention. These are PAF, I believe their anniversary, Master, PAF Master, that was called, and that's the PAF 36 anniversary. These are DP223N, DP260N. In that case, the N does not stand for neck because this one is denoted bridge. This one's denoted neck. This is actually the neck pickup that I'm putting in there, PAF style. It's not a super expensive guitar. That does not scare me. We are going to swap these pickups. Now, the first order of business is to get the neck out. That is this guy right here, and I have to size the pickup ring from the PRS patient to make sure that this PAF is going to fit in there. That's the first order of business, because if not, I have to source out some neck rings that will work. In my shop, I had some spares, mismatched spares here and there. Some of them fit this, and some of them didn't. So I took some measurements. It looks like we're going to be really, really close. They should go in. So first things first, we're going to take out the neck pickup and measure that. So to do that, we have to desolder a few things. And I hope my head will not be in the way too much. I already took the hot lead off of the three-way switch. The next step is to get the ground off, and so it's out of the way, and then I can reach down. I should be able to reach down in there and get that undone. Kind of hold it with a pair of pliers and hit it with a hot cider iron. It should come pretty much right off. Of course, best laid plans, you know how that goes. So our neck goes to the bottom right terminal of the push-pull pot. The hot lead goes to the left position on the three-way switch, and then all the grounds go to the back of the pot here, which is pretty basic stuff. Pretty basic stuff. Let's see if this globo solder is going to cooperate with me here. Yep, sure it came right off. So we can now separate the neck. They've got kind of all of them clumped together, which I disagree with. I'm all for common grounding certain things, but not multiple pickups together. It's true, they all go to the same common point, ground point, but let's just try to remember. Black is hot. Green and red. Anyway, Let's get it out of there. I hope this fits. I hope it fits the pickup ring. It's going to slow the job down if I have to go source them out because I don't have any in my parts bin. I have mismatched ones. I have a couple of cream color ones that don't fit. They're a pair, but this has got a really thin neck pickup ring. Let's see if we can't pull that through. There we go. All right. So all we're doing is fitting right now to see if this girl is going to fit in there the way we want it to. You know, you got to kiss a few frogs sometimes before you get to your prints. So this is the first step. As long as this fits in the pickup ring, we can move forward. If not, this job's going to come to a screeching halt. Right quick. I think it's going to fit. I certainly hope it's going to fit. Success, success, Yahtzee. Okay, this girl is done. It is the same neck on it. It doesn't. I'm going to put an N on that for the customer so he knows which one it is. I can go back in the box, I think. Out of the way. So mounting is pretty basic and straightforward. Getting it through the hole is going to be a trick, I'm sure. DiMarzio pickups. I think we want, like so. Make sure this is going to fit in there. And it does. So let's mount it first. I'm going to pause while I putz around with these springs and pushing the wire through because it just eats up video time. I want to get to soldering it in and tap testing it to show that part of it. So stand by because it could take me a hot minute to get these leads pushed through where I can get to working on them. So PAFs are in. I'm going to tap test them. We soldered them in the back. So in neck position, push, pull, bridge. Perfect. Yep, that's working. And then the middle, of course. Yep. Beautiful. Everything comes together with a little bit of planning. So pretty basic. I mean, you have your one push-pull pot here. In this particular instance, on the other one, it was red and white went to the push-pull post for neck, and same with the bridge, 2 different posts. And then black was your hot lead over here on the 3-way switch. And this case, it's red for hot leads, and you have to keep them separate. That's why I have a piece of blue tape on that. It denotes the neck and so forth. And then your grounds go to the back of the pot. Neatness counts. You got to do it right. And you have to make sure you're paying attention to the color code changes between DiMarzio and PRS. The color codes are not the same, and they rarely are. I am going to zip tie these two harnesses and tuck them. There was a little extra bridge harness wire. We don't need it to be dangling. We're going to zip tie them all together. Like I said, neatness counts. Take the time to do this right. Everybody will be happier and better for it. Eventually that'll learn to stay down in there. Where's our cover? We're going to move right on to restringing and setup. And I'm pretty certain this guitar is ready to rock. Don't show the soldering. I've tried and tried without a zoom camera and a third person standing here. You know, it just doesn't work. You can't see that micro, that tiny little stuff. But I explain it as much as I can, so you can avoid the pitfalls that everybody does, like color coding, which is different manufacturer to manufacturer. So we've got a set of strings here somewhere. He's putting 9s on this. I don't know what came off of it, but we'll know in short order if they were anything other than 9s. This is how I do it. Let's see if it cooperates. I noticed this saddle was all the way forward. It's not going to want to receive the string. It's kind of covering the hole where the string comes through. I guesstimated a pickup height based on what it was. So hopefully that's all part of setting it up anyway. I'm going to do a restring and setup on this instrument anyway. Get everything playing correctly. Now, I'm going to show this part of it off camera. I'm going to polish the frets, clean them anyway, and oil the board because, yeah, it needs it. It needs it. We're going to pause briefly while I do that process. I'll show you the first part. And then we'll move on. Went right through like it's supposed to. So many of you have seen this process. You know what I do. Again, these frets are not that bad. They don't need a lot of work. We're just going to clean them up a little bit. With some light emery. And then oil the board and polish the frets real quick. So that takes me about a half an hour, 45 minutes. I'm not going to show the entire process, of course, which I don't usually because it takes so much video time, but you can see the difference, right away. These frets are polished over here and cleaned, at least the first step. And then we'll get the rest of them done, oil the board. I'll be right back. So we finished that process, first scuffing and taking off most of the gook off the top of the frets. And the second part is polishing it. And again, I don't always do this step every time, but I felt that this one did need it. And sometimes, yeah, you can go way farther than this. I say all the time. So you apply a little polish. It's kind of messy. At least this is the way I do it. Get after it, and that's what you're getting off is the tarnish. Use a clean part of the cloth each time. And if you don't think it matters, it does. I will argue with you on that one. It does matter. The client deserves it. Wipe off the excess. And rinse and repeat as often as you think you have to, but usually this process is good enough for frets that aren't completely green and tarnished to the moon. Last few. My fat head is probably in the way. Try not to. Don't make fun of my fat head. That, so they say, is that. When you get done, yeah, that's what it should look like because you're getting all that crap off of there. Clean it up. Get all the excess off. The oil will help facilitate that, which is the next step. And it's just as important. I don't need to show this entire step. I know you guys have seen it a million times. Sometimes it is just for the benefit of the client, but you apply it and then let it sit. So I'm going to pause here while I do this step. You apply it semi-liberally and let it sit for 10 or 15 minutes on there. It's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. In fact, it makes it even better. And then you buff off the excess or wipe off any excess. You want this to soak into the wood, and that's the idea of leaving it sit for just a few minutes, okay? So stand by. We'll be right back. When I come back, I'll have this cleaned off. I'll have wiped up the fresh new pickups, get everything off of them, and I'll have the strings on, ready for setup. So we are starting to do the setup on this guitar. Now, it's getting stability, but the bridge is tilting a little bit, so we need more spring tension. It looks like they're backed out quite a bit. I want, on a PRS, I want the bridge level to the body. So that process is a little bit of hit and miss the way I do it. You put more spring tension and it will release the string tension slightly, and that process takes a little bit of, doing to get equilibrium. So you want the string tension and the spring tension to be equal. If you're too high, you have to pull the springs in tighter in the back. If the bridge is too tight to the deck, you have to loosen those springs up slightly. And we've already got a good look on that. It should be okay. If I went too far, then you have to adjust it. So this does take a hot minute. I may slightly overboard. Oh, I think we're getting really close. As long as we stay level, which we are. And really, it's just do it over and over and over again until those strings and the springs start to find equilibrium. And PRSs are usually really good about it. They respond well, which this one just did. That one little adjustment was all it needed. It has come into position close enough. I mean, the strings are still going to stretch over the course of the next couple of days to a week, but now I can finish the setup on it. I'm happy where our spring tension is and our bridge and saddle assembly is sitting. So neck relief. Too close. It's too tight, too straight. Call it what you want. I would like to see just slightly more relief in it, but I don't think we're going to have to. It's really, really, really close. Let's just see where our string height is. It's a little high, so we have to go through that process. And that's what we're going to do right now. And sometimes this takes a little bit of doing. You have to be patient and, adjust, tune, check, adjust until you get it right where it needs to be. Make sure all your saddles are level to the deck, which they're pretty close now. And then check your adjustment. I'm looking for just about 5/64. I want to be right around 5, like as if it were a fender. It's got a very similar systems to it, and that's where we're going to adjust it. I think this instrument will bear that and play very nicely at 5/64. I'm going to show you the first one, and then I'm going to go through the trial and error of doing the rest of them. So I like 5/64, and that's where we're going to set it to follow the radius of the board, each individual saddle. So stand by, we'll be right back. So I'm very pleased with the setup so far. The guitar is really responding, and being that it's an entry-level PRS, it's not a really special high-end guitar, but as I always say, every instrument deserves to play as well as it can possibly play, and this one's responding well to everything we did, including the pickup installation. It has really come into equilibrium nicely. I have the pickup, the string height set 5/64 all the way across. Some of you can argue that. Can it go lower? Can it go higher? Yes. It's whatever the player wants. If he wants it lower, of course, I'll tweak it for him. But this is where this instrument's going to play the best. So it's very stable. Intonation is dead on. So somebody got that right, which I love. PRS are generally very stable instruments. I've warmed up to them over the years because they really do react and respond well to adjustment and playability and what have you. This gentleman actually dropped off 2 of them. I'm doing the same job on the next one, but the next one is getting Seymour Duncan's. So we're gonna film both of them. It's pickup swap day at 396 Guitars. That's what I do. I wasn't that far off. I'm actually pretty close with my guesstimate. Pretty close. So this guitar is going to set overnight. And of course, I'm going to check all this stuff tomorrow. It's just the way I do. I can't in good conscience. I mean, sometimes you got to give them back right away, but I usually like to let them settle overnight and then recheck them in the morning, if it's possible. Which with this one, I will have it overnight and it will set. So, right now, it is doing everything that it's supposed to do. In fact, point of interest, I tightened up all his hardware. It was loose. I had to fix his output jack. It was loose and wobbly and wonky. And of course, you saw everything else that we did. That's all part of every job I do for a customer. I check all that stuff. It's the first thing I do is check the output jack and even the strap pegs. And yeah, this stuff was really loose, which is tuning stability. And I think we're there. It's coming back into tune. It's behaving nicely. And I think it's time we plug it in. I tap tested everything. I know it's working right. There's your coil splitter. Right? Bridge. Splitter. Tone. Volume. And in the middle, this guitar is done. And it's ready to go back to the client. I'm just going to snip off the excess strings. It's going to settle overnight. I'm going to recheck all of the adjustments, and very happy with the way this instrument came out. He was a little concerned. He goes, well, it's not an expensive guitar. And I stopped him dead in his tracks, and it does not matter. It deserves to play as well as it can possibly play. And it's, by all accounts right now, and proof, it is standing tall. It's blackjack with 396 guitars. We got a nice little PRS on the bench. We did a pickup swap, took the originals out, put PAFs in. It does have a coil splitter. Basic, simple system, but that confuses a lot of people. And if you pay attention to the color coding between manufacturers and take your time and go slow, you'll be fine. So we'll talk next time. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe.